Thank you. We're now with Juvenile Court and Judge Crawford. Welcome. You're in a leading role now, and you've been to budget hearings before, but this is your first appearance in a leading role, so we're looking forward to hearing from you. If you could introduce yourself and your colleagues and then make whatever initial presentation you'd like to make.
Sure. I'm Sophia Crawford, the Davidson County Juvenile Court Judge, and when you continue to say that and feel like you need to pinch yourself to make sure it's real, you know you're in the right place. So with me today, I have Tim Adjett to my left, who's the Court Administrator for Programs.
This is not his first rodeo.
No. He's been with Juvenile Court about 40 years, 39 years. And to my right, I have Jim Swack, Court Administrator for Business Operations, and then Charlie Ward, who everybody knows, Chief Probation Officer.
Oh, Mr. Ward, well, a good man.
And he's also been with the court about 40 years, so I have a lot of experience sitting here with me at the table. Mr. Ward has taken the buyout, so, but has agreed to.
I didn't know that.
He has. So.
We'll rescind that thing, right? Thing's cutting too deep. Charlie and I go way back.
I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor and Deputy Mayor, Mr. Riebling, and Finance Director, Deputy Mayor, Mr. Highnote, and Finance Director, Mr. Highnote, Mr. Riebling. As you pointed out, this is my first one to be sitting at this table, so you'll have to overlook the nervousness here. But I want to also thank Talia and Alicia, who have been very helpful with me in getting prepared for this process, and Mr. Adjett, who had put in his notice to retire, and after I went on bended knee and begged him, he decided to stay with me for a while until I could feel comfortable. I also want to take this opportunity, Mayor, to thank the Metro Council for the appointment back on October the 16th to this position, as well as Judge Green for being such a wonderful mentor to me as her magistrate for 10 years.
Does she drop in all the time?
She does. She stays in constant contact with us. So I also want to thank the juvenile court employees and magistrates who have made this transition a very smooth transition for me to this position, and Walter Kurtz, retired judge, who helped us during that 2 months when we were without a leader. And David Smith, our clerk, who does an excellent job at making our courtrooms all run smoothly.
Sure. I should know before you started that Councilman Stein is with us.
Yes. And I also have with me behind me is Christine McWhirter, who is my warrant officer / court officer. We call them warrant officers. That's what their title is. We had 5 employees that took the buyout, and when I first came on board and immediately started looking at budget issues to start preparing for today's hearing, was a little panicked, and Mr. Riebling helped me through that panic as I went to him and said, how in the world am I supposed to have a buyout out of my budget as well as any proposed reductions? And he eased my mind, and everyone that's worked with me.
He doesn't do that for everybody.
She called me on a good day. Even I have a good day a year, and it just happened to be that one day.
The mayor's asked, the mayor's office asked him what to do, and he said, it's not really my problem.
It was a bad day. It was a bad day. And I have a lot of bad days, so.
We are happy to announce that we are projected to come in within budget, as we should. I'd like to start, Mayor, with our accomplishments for the last fiscal year. Our supervised probation staff had 25,000 face-to-face contacts with youth on probation, which was up about 16% from the prior fiscal year. Those contacts included 3,100 after-hours curfew checks, which was also up, and 445 probationer room searches. I'm not sure if you saw the news Friday night, but we had a probation sweep that resulted in, I think it was about 78% compliance of probationers, and the ones that weren't, we recovered guns and drugs and got those off of the street. So, but about 85% of the youth on supervised probation successfully completed their probation, and out of the cases that were closed in this past fiscal year, 89% did not return, which was a pretty good percentage in terms of our supervised probation caseloads. Our supervised probation staff are currently partnering with the Metro Nashville Police Department, the Department of Children's Services, in order to start a recidivism reduction program, and this is to provide intensive supervision to delinquent youth presenting the most risk to the community. as determined by the Metro Nashville Police Department arrest records. Since 89% of the youth that are in DCS custody, the court probation staff and the Metro Nashville Police Department are going to train 2 DCS specialists in intensive service delivery, curfew checks, and room searches to monitor those identified youth. There's no additional cost for us to do that program. It's just an attempt for us to try to reduce recidivism. The Metro Student Attendance Center, MSAC, received 1,013 referrals from the Metro Nashville Police Department at public schools and our other juvenile court programs. They processed approximately 1,527 truancy petitions, and there were also 1,209 youth who complaints had been filed, but because of the efforts of our court staff and other referrals and counseling programs, were able to be diverted without any formal court appearances. We're trying to be proactive instead of reactive. We also have foster care review board programs that consist of about 100 community volunteers. They hold approximately 1,500 reviews annually for the purposes of making sure that DCS is held accountable for the children that are in their custody. Anytime a youth comes before one of those boards and the boards have concerns about accountability, then they will, what we call, hot sheet it up to the various courts for us to take a look at to make sure that accountability is there. Our Parentage Division successfully established orders which addressed paternity, custody, and visitation, setting support for 5,976 children, and $260,430 was collected for child support for the children of Davidson County. We also placed in the top 3 statewide in terms of collection of child support, which is something that I've been proud of in the 10 years since I started as a magistrate. We started that foster care support collection docket 10 years ago, and for a while we're actually the top in collections for support for children in foster care, and we still remain in the top 3. So those are some accomplishments that the court is very pleased with. In terms of our goals, I think one of the things that concerned me the most, Mayor, when I came on as the judge was the amount of supervised probation staff that we have that are grant funded. We have several different grants that have proven to be very stable over the years. However, the state grant that we have that funds 11 probation officers that I think Judge Green had brought to the attention of you guys in the past on several occasions. It's never been a budget request, but again, it's a proactive rather than reactive. Historically, the grant that funds those 11 supervised probation officers has not proven to be stable in the sense of we don't get notice until the last minute as to whether or not they're going to fund it. Last year, we didn't find out until after our budget hearings. Bless Judge Green for going through that, because I couldn't have. I'm just very concerned about that specific grant because there's uncertainty, instability, and unpredictability with regard to those funds.
It's 2 sides of the coin. I mean, the grant that you're getting to pay for the probation officers is state money, right?
Right.
And you're proposing to make that local money.
Well, that's in my budget request. Right. However, after I submitted this, I received a letter. Historically, we don't get a letter from the state until June, as I said, like last year. But this year, coincidentally, after our budget request was made, I did receive a letter stating that it was approved pending legislative approval. So I'm optimistic that once again that grant's going to be funded. However, I thought I would be remiss in my responsibilities if I hadn't have asked for it.
I think it's appropriate to inform us, but it sure is better to use state money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we wouldn't want to leave it on the table. It would
right.
be,
So I was
take care of that, Rich, in the appropriate way.
We'll make sure it happens.
And a little bit of apprehension and nervousness is not a bad thing.
Okay. I was just real concerned. Their work is vital to the court. So the grant-funded probation officers, as I said, I'm encouraged by virtue of the fact that we're just pending legislative approval in terms of that grant. Another one of our goals is listed as to reduce delinquent offender recidivism. We're working on that, as I currently stated, by putting together a group to work on reduction in recidivism. We're starting out with the most at-risk youth, and I think I've already outlined the program that we've started to assist us with that goal. A third goal is to increase compliance with child support orders and reduce incarceration for contempt by adding probation officers who would provide intensive services. We have put that in a request in our budget. Those proposed positions would work with designated non-custodial parents to identify the reasons that they are behind in their child support and not paying their child support. We have requested a few positions that would require a match. The state that funds that 4D grant has already indicated support for a program, and their funding would be approximately $107,000. The Metro match would be approximately 34%. And our goal in having those positions would be, studies show that problem-solving courts increase compliance with court orders more effectively and at a lesser cost than traditional incarceration. There would be a substantial cost savings for the city if incarceration was not utilized as much. Last year we had about 1,713 contempts filed. There's a difference, as you well know from your past, Mayor, that there's a difference in those that can and won't versus those that are struggling and trying. So our goal with those positions would be to take those positions to work with those that are struggling and trying to pay their support, because all of these statistics show that when fathers and mothers are actively involved in the lives of their children end up being much more successful. So our goal would be to try to use two positions that would be likened to an article that I found in a situation that they're doing in Virginia, where non-custodial parents have been made a part of an intensive case management monitoring program that actually resulted in $4 million in child support collections over a 4-year period that they previously had not received, because of having folks that were working with those individuals, trying to help them find jobs and determine what the underlying reasons were for their non-support. Simply looking for alternatives to incarceration, while recognizing as a judicial officer that there are times to when there is no other alternative other than incarceration. While it's not in my budget presentation, I would like to also make you aware of the fact that we are looking at other alternatives to detention in terms of status offenders. We don't incarcerate status offenders, but occasionally we have status offenders brought down to the court because parents can't be located or the like. And, you know, even if it's one or two, we're looking and exploring alternatives to them being brought down to juvenile court, which is not in the budget because it doesn't have any consequences at the present time in terms of a financial tag associated. So that is our budget presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so the improvements you've requested, the 650, is that primarily the probation thing we discussed?
Yes, sir. I think that's 400 and something thousand of that.
It's like 595 of it is probation.
All right. And then the grant and special purpose adjustments is 48. Is that basically
money and money?
Grant, that's what we just talked about, the trial courts? Okay.
Yeah, the only other improvement really is this match money.
Right.
For the additional probation program that the judge just talked about. It's $55,000.
Okay. I get it. Rich?
Good.
All right, well, congratulations on your first budget hearing, and good work. Everything I hear is very positive, so.
Thank you very much.
As I knew it would be. Charles? Gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you. We all are.
We all are, yeah.
Did a great job. Did a great job.
You can come back next year at budget hearing. We'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Supervisor.